What is up, everyone? This is BigPowner, and today I'm going to be helping you guys making currency. I'm gonna let you guys know what it is that I am doing to make a ton of currency right now. It's blight maps. I called it at the beginning of the league. The blight maps were going to be like historically low. I called it the adding blight to the map was going to be good. Right now, however, it's gotten so low, I wouldn't have predicted that you would be able to get maps this cheap. They are down to being able to be consistently bought for 15 chaos a piece. I'm sometimes even getting tier 14 plus maps cheaper than that, buying in quantity because people are getting huge stockpiles of them. Why is this? Probably because a lot of people are either not comfortable playing blight maps, one, two, they're afraid to try, or three, they have other things that they like doing, so they're just trying to get currency out of them. The thing is there are a ton of ways that blight maps are coming in. We have the delirium giving them to us, we have the simulacrum giving them to us, we have the blight on Xana. Um, there's a ton of blight maps coming into the game. I was joking with my friends and I was saying that this league is Blight League 3.0 because ever since Blight League, Blight has gotten better and better. What makes Blight so good right now is because you can buy the maps cheap, you can just run them nonstop, and it's guaranteed good profit. I would say consistently, you can probably make about 5 exalts an hour. If and that's minusing your costs. I would say consistently at least 5 exalts an hour in actual currency or things that you can turn over very quickly. Very, very realistic. And I would say even if you're bad at it, probably making like 2, 3 exalts an hour. This is kind of based on like how long it takes you to clean up your maps. A part of it's going to be luck, but I'm talking about an average over time. And I'll be honest with you, my actual earnings are way higher than that. Um, Obviously, a part of it has to do with RNG, but I've done a lot of the maps. So, every season since Blight League, I have done a lot of Blight maps. I mean, I guess there's not a tally, so I don't know how many past 50, but I've already completed my end game grind. I've done a lot of them, so I know what I'm earning. And I'm saying it's a safe bet. If you can get in, like 5 of them in an hour, you should be making in the range of 2.5 to 5 exalts an hour um, pretty consistently. And then on top of that, this isn't counting for items that might drop for you. You have a lot of chances for items, and in those earnings, I'm not counting things like that. I'm talking about currency, oils, um, those are divination cards, things that you can turn over that are basically there's a set market price and you put it on the market at its market value and it's going to sell and it's going to turn over to currency for you. How good is this actually? My last gaming session, I played this. I made 50 exalts. Of that 50 exalts, one of some of that was from selling items. 26 and a half exalts from selling items. Some gotten from the blight maps. Others, like there's a few drops that sold really quickly that were from the blight maps, like in the same gaming session. Um, but realistically, from the blight maps, I would say like 20. I made like 20, 25 exalts in currency, oils, stuff like that. And that's profit. That's not. I made 25 exalts, but I spent 20 exalts to make it, so I actually only made 5. That is my actual earnings, how much currency I had left over after buying maps. So it's really, really good currency. If you can do the blight maps and you're having trouble making currency, this is guaranteed currency. This is like I did the bossing thing. You guys have access to my bosser, and you guys have access to my mapper as far as builds. And I said from the beginning of the league, why is it I was starting Ice Shot? Why was it I was recommending Ice Shot? Because I knew it would be able to do all the content. It was a mapping league, and I knew the Ice Shot would be good at that. And one of the third big things was our big Xana mod was Blight maps. So Blight maps were going to be easily accessible, and that was going to be a good currency stream. So if you are playing my Ice Shot build, you have the capability to be completing these maps. And the 15 chaos cost is on red tier maps, tier 13, 14, 15, 16. Honestly, at tier 13 plus, they're all the same thing to me personally. I ask people when I'm buying one because I want to minimize my trading. If I don't have to buy one map at a time, you got to save yourself time. If someone's got 10 Blight maps, as long as they're tier 13 or higher, I'm going to buy all of them. As long as they're not like, one guy's like, I want 32 for this tier 16, but 15 for everything under. I'm like, I'm not giving you 32 for a tier 16 when I can buy them for 15. That's just stupid. Um, and there's not much difference. The only difference is the item tier level, but the main things that we're looking at in the Blight maps is we're looking for oils, currencies, the big items. At tier 13, you're still getting items that are above item level 80, which most items are going to be able to get their best rolls at item level 80. And since we're not getting a lot of influence items, having those, you know, much higher tiers isn't as important. I and I'm saying not as important. The reason why is because an 84 plus item is what's best, honestly, which, is getting into your tier 16 maps. But the things that those really count on, you're the likelihood that's going to pay off for you. Well, depending on how many maps you play, doubling your cost of every map, the likelihood of that paying off for you is not very good. If it's a little bit more to play the tier 16s, that's not bad. Like if I can buy a tier 16 for 20 or under, then I'll still buy it because that's still at a price where it's so cheap that I know I'm not going to be losing currency. I know I'm going to be making currency. Historically, Blight maps I put at kind of like a minimum earning range of like 40 to 50 chaos. That's like a bad map. Because it's early league, a lot more stuff that's dropping is valuable. So the earning level is higher right now. So them being this cheap this early in the league is the reason why I'm making so much currency. As the league goes on, if they're still this cheap, is it still going to be worthwhile as a revenue stream? Yes, because of how cheap they are. It's what you're investing. The reason why I have last league been like buying blight maps is stupid because they were 50 chaos and above. If I'm possibly going to have maps where I only make 50 chaos, is it smart for me to spend 50 chaos on a map? No, because I'm going to spend 10 minutes in a map and make nothing? That's stupid. If I'm spending 15, I'm going to make at least 35 chaos. Say I run 6 maps in an hour, every single map is bad. I've still got made 210 chaos. That's close to 2 exalted orbs. You're not going to run absolute worst case scenario every single time. The thing that I do want to say, if you're afraid to play blight maps, if you've failed them, if you haven't done good at them, this is the best time to try them because they're so cheap. The thing I am going to say is if you are not comfortable with blight maps, first of all, you should watch some of my gameplay, the things that I do. That's going to help a lot. I give tips, I tell you what I'm thinking, stuff like that. That's going to boost your ability to beat them a lot. If you're already comfortable with them, just take my advice. Go start playing blight maps if you're not making more currency than that consistently, and that sounds good to you. Well, I mean, if you hate blight maps, and you're making decent currency doing something else, I'm not saying you have to do this. I just like to let people know when there's a good revenue stream out there that's going to work for everyone, and that's what I'm doing. The thing is, if you're uncomfortable, I think one of the other reasons, like I said, some people don't want to do them. One of the other reasons I think that a lot of people aren't doing them is because they're worried that they're not going to be able to do them. I have friends that were in that situation. I really haven't done any blight maps because I tried a couple and I failed. Seeing how someone that knows how to do it and getting tips is going to give you a boost to your ability to complete them. The thing that I will tell you is if you can complete half of your blight maps, you're still going to be making currency. That's how cheap the maps are and how good the currency is coming into them. The things that you need to do to make it so that you can, complete more of them, you need to get enchantments on your rings. The enchantments I'm using right now, your meteor drops an extra meteor, and your meteor tower always stuns. Kind of like crowd control with the biggest damage, because if it drops an extra meteor, that's 2 meteors instead of 1. That's double the damage. So those are what I'm using. The other option is increased range, because it gives more coverage for the meteor. I don't choose this because just because I don't really need the extra range in most blight maps. I'm really good at placing my turrets. I did play extra range for a while last season on blight maps. It's nice because you can have your towers. Your towers can have a lot more coverage, but once you start getting a lot better at them, I've kind of liked having the not having the bigger range because I can kind of control more where they're targeting. I'm not going to get into really complicated things like that. Um, So if you haven't been doing them, the thing is you know what's even cheaper than the red maps? The white maps. I had people give me free ones yesterday. They're like, "Oh, you're buying these? You'll buy my red ones. You can just take these other ones because they can't sell them." So you can probably find some ones to practice on, and you can slowly work your way into those ones. If you're really uncomfortable with it, and you don't want to risk 15 chaos, go get a 4 or 5 chaos map. Try that. Um, and then work your way up. All right, the white tier was easy. I'm gonna do a yellow tier. I did that. Move your way up. There is a lot of managing in it, and stuff like that. Like my buddy was like that had just trying was like, holy crap, how do you do it? There's a lot of stuff to manage. There is. Take the tips that I've given in my videos, and that will help you a lot. It's going to take practice to get really good at it. But don't beat yourself up if you fail. You complete a couple and it's going to feed you the currency. The thing that I want to tell you is to give you an idea of the earnings. If one opalescent oil drops, it basically pays for the map. If a silver oil drops, it pays for 2.5 maps. If a gold oil drops, that pays for like 7-8 maps. So, and there's a lot of stuff in the maps. The other tip that I'm going to give, something that you guys don't see me do, you don't have to start off beefing them up. These are the options, basically. These are the options for beefing up your maps. These are the different things that I would recommend to do. Starting out, if you're uncomfortable playing the maps, you're not going to want to be focusing on getting better rewards. You're going to want to focus on getting the rewards. What do these two things do? And I need one more.
Hello.
There's 3 things to make them easier. Amber oil reduces the cost of the towers. Why does this make the map a lot easier? Because you can build a lot more towers. This is a super good kind of crutch if you have bad gear in your... This is something I do. This is how I do use these. If I'm super crutched in my gear, but I'm trying to advance, and I've done this the last 2 seasons. My gear was bad and I needed a good source of income. I used reduced tower cost on my amber oils. Why? Because the towers can do a lot of damage. If I don't have a lot of damage, being able to build a lot more towers makes it so that, I can do some damage, and I'm going to have a lot of towers doing damage, providing crowd control, stuff like that. It makes the map a lot easier. This is like a #1 pick for your new, start off with like 2 or 3 of them on your map. More damage, obviously more damage, but I like actually the slow as a pick, because the slower they're moving, you know, it takes more time to get there. It gives more chances for your crowd control towers to hit them multiple times. They're gonna get kind of like locked there. But damage is also good. What am I doing? Triple red is what I'm permanently farming because I just have so much oils, and the crimsons are super cheap. So it's a small investment into it. What was I originally doing when I started buying the maps? I was just using teal oils because they're cheap. I get 6 lucky chests. I'm running these as fast as possible, lowest cost possible. I'm making a bunch. The other option, this drops an extra 10% chance to drop extra reward. I go double lucky chests at 6 lucky chests, equivalent to 3 teals, and then a 10% chance to double drop. The double drop can wind up being really rewarding, but it can also do nothing, because depending on what type of chest spawn into your map will depend on whether having an extra drop chance on those is even going to be beneficial. And the black oil is more expensive than all of these other oils we're using. Using higher tier oils, silvers and the gold. Silvers and golds are good, but the thing is the cost becomes so much going into the map that now you're basically in a prayer mode. Like, I sure hope a ton of good stuff drops, otherwise I'm not even going to break even. That's stupid. Um, so start off using these, see what works best for you. Teal oils, all the way, you can just run 3 of those. If you're working your way from doing easier ones, you can take and use like 2 cheaper cost towers and throw in one of these. Now I got 3 lucky chests and it's still going to be easier. And then if you're like, alright, well, I've got this down with 40% cheaper towers, and then I can just use 1 amber and I can use 2 crimsons. Now I've got 6 lucky chests and 20% reduced cost to the towers. When you get comfortable with that, you can go to full currency earners. Don't stress out if you're new at Blight maps and you fail a couple. If you're under geared, you know, you might realize that. I mean, that's possible. If you're like, holy shit, I can't kill anything in the maps, then, you know, you might be under geared for that tier that you're trying to do. That's obviously an issue. I play Blight maps early season super under geared, but I'm also really good at Blight maps. I'm not recommending that people that aren't geared to do it and haven't been playing Blight maps go out and invest their money into Blight maps that they're gonna wind up failing. That's not smart. What I am saying is if you are geared, like for instance, I'm able to do tier 16 maps and I kill stuff just fine, then that means I'm geared enough to do Blight maps at tier 16. If I have trouble killing stuff in tier 16, that means I'm probably not geared enough to be completing Blight maps. Because there's the gear and then the skill to do Blight maps. So it's 2 things. So if I'm coming into it, I don't know Blight maps, and I'm not geared for that tier of a map, then that's probably going to be a lot of fails. So use a little bit of sense. I can't individually tell you, alright, you're good for this. You'll be able to know. Like, I don't struggle at tier 13, but I struggle at tier 15 maps. Then that probably means tier 13 are the Blight maps you should be farming. The question is, what if you're a player that hasn't even made it to red maps? What if yellow maps are easy for you? Then you can definitely do white tier Blight maps, and if those are super cheap, that might be a great way to get a bunch of extra currency to upgrade your gear to help you get into red maps. And if red tier maps are 15 chaos, then, you know, white maps, I mean, I'm not trying to buy white maps, so I don't know the exact prices, but I know by looking at market trends that they're going to be way less expensive than... Oh yeah, and maps are coming down even more. We've got tier 14s at 14 chaos, Crimson Temples 13. Oh, some of these. So we've actually got some tier 14s are now at 10 chaos. Yeah, that's crazy. So they've come down 30% in the last 24 hours. So they're getting even cheaper, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Um, so there are some white maps that are more expensive, but let's see what the cheapest ones are. Under 10 chaos. They might not be that much cheaper because a lot of people might not be able to complete the red tier maps. But if you're playing Ice Shot, if you have your 6th link, if you've been following my guide, I'm telling you, you can complete them. If you've got all the main pieces of the build, I haven't, I was completing red tier maps on a 5 link. Once again, I'm not telling you to do this because I am really good at Blight maps. But damage wise, gear wise, if you're good at them, you can complete them with a lot less gear than what I have. I'm not saying you have to have, um, exact gear that I have. You're gonna know if you can do tier 13 maps, you're gonna be able to do a tier 13 Blight map. The only thing that you need to learn is you need the practice to be able to do the Blight maps. So that's pretty much it. If you are looking for a currency stream, and or you're struggling with currency, or you've been trying something else and it hasn't been working, right now blight maps are an excellent place to be making currency. And I'm actually telling you it when it's most profitable. I ain't gonna wait a month when it's no longer as profitable to tell you this, because the oils are going to drop in price. Because if I give the advice for people, a bunch of people, to get out there and start farming it, which is going to mean that the prices of one of the income sources are going to start dropping if more people are doing them. Um, so I'm hurting myself to help you guys. uh, that's pretty much it. From this point on, I'm just gonna play some, and you guys can kind of see what it looks like. A lot of people have enjoyed watching. I'm not gonna do as many because I wanted to create some more content today, but and I don't want to be uploading a video for like several hours where I can't create smaller content videos. So for me, when I'm buying them, I don't care what. I already had one in here. Okay, well, I guess oh, they're both shrine. uh, when I'm buying them, honestly, I don't care which one they are. I look for one map and I ask people, and I'm not even bothering rolling on these. In previous seasons, when they were more expensive, I was putting quality on them. I was trying to make my loot explosion better. Why? Because it's a lot of kills. The thing is, now they're cheap. I just want to get them done. I don't want to spend extra time trying to craft the map. I just want to do it and get on to the next one. I have hardly nothing invested into them. I just wanna get my loot. I want to get my loot and get on to the next one. And that's the thing that I was saying about buying them. If someone's got well, the more the merrier. If someone's got 5, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't want that one, because that's not my favorite map. I'm just gonna take whatever it is that they have. Why? Because trading takes away from my playing time. If I spend an hour trying to get 5 maps, then that's an hour I was making nothing. So the thing that I will say though is some of these maps are a lot harder than others, and if you're struggling, like if you're having trouble, like I got that one completed, but this one is like really hard, then you should probably be like, well, I don't want to play that map because I failed it. It was really hard. There are maps that are harder than other ones.
Let's see what this tower can really do.
The less expensive ones, I think, are the harder ones. I'm gonna look, see which ones. What we got? What are the cheapest ones? Mineral pools? That's weird that that one's cheap. I'd say Mineral Pools is one of the easier ones, so it's funny that that's one of the cheaper ones. Blighted Infested Valley, I would say Infested Valley, Dark Forest are probably in the harder groups. Um, Crimson Temples 13, that's a tier 14 map. That's a pretty easy one. I would say that's probably one of the easier Blight maps to do. Spider's Lair map, I think that that one's probably a pretty easy one too. Anything with choke points are going to be easier maps. And the reason why is because you have less possible directions that stuff can be coming at you. Wow. Yeah, it's already branching off this way. So, turret placement. You notice I like to, well, I've said this a bunch of times. I like to have my portal right next to my pump, and the reason why is because when stuff gets crazy, you start having stuff spawning under your tower and all this types of stuff. You know, it can get hard to see where that little node is. So why am I putting this the closest? Because when I expand this, it's going to give a chance to give me coverage on my pump. I just totally let that guy just walk in.
Put out new mycelium! New roots!
See, I'm picking this right here because there's a split here, and it's going to touch both those sides. You want the most coverage that you can get when you're placing turrets.
Divine power!
Centralized.
Do not let them reach the purification. Put out new mycelium! New roots!
You gotta pay attention to your mini-map.
New roots!
It's kind of also knowing, like, how much time do I have to give this side attention before this side's gonna get hit. And not talking and letting stuff just walk by you is also highly recommended. Alright, so right here I'm going to upgrade this one first because it has the most coverage, and on the final stage of upgrading these towers they get more area of effect. You can see the area of effect by that circle.
Let's see what this tower can really do! Blight is trying to spread! You're making me nervous! Put out new mycelium! New roots!
When you can, going out and clearing away lanes like that is a good thing to do, and the reason why is because it gets you more currency to be crafting towers. Which obviously, the more little helpers you have, the easier it is, because you have more stuff slowing them down, you have more stuff killing them.
My mana is gone.
See how it blocks that up nice? The minions hold with the ice tower, which kind of creates a block. always in the beginning, if you can, place down a lot of turrets, because it's so much easier to upgrade than it is to try to place turrets when you're in the middle of a battle. So I like to leave one of these. This gives damage doing those ones, but you never want to have those be your only ones in the lane because they don't block. They are damage dealers, not blockers. And I go up to when it gives you that option because it provides the most amount of minions and they're the tankiest, which means they're going to be the best at blocking. So something I'd like you to note is I don't count my essences as any of my currency. So when I'm telling you what it is that you will be earning, there's actually more currency in it than what I'm saying, because I'm not really counting everything, because I don't sell a lot of stuff. I still open the talismans because, you know, you could wind up with a unique for one, and you could also wind up with currency falling out of it. Another nice thing about doing a bunch of Blight maps is it'll complete your your unlocks if you actually pick the stuff up. So I'm playing on super strict, so in case you're wondering what loot filter I'm at now, we're a couple weeks in. We're in what, second day of week 3, so it's kind of getting to the point where you need to definitely up your oh, I don't have any ID scrolls on me. You definitely need to be upping your loot filter, because otherwise you're just seeing a lot of crap that's not going to help you. I finally downloaded the master loot filter. So I have all the settings. I'm now on the the highest setting. I don't want to see that crap, man. Just waste my time.
Welcome.
Chances of like this, because it's not best type helmet, have to have like really good stats on it for me to sell it at this point. Your price cutoff is going to be different than mine. Maybe you have a lot more currency than me, and maybe you have a lot worse. I don't know. So some stuff that I might sell, you might be like, oh, well, that's 20 chaos or that's 30 chaos. I'm gonna sell that. So the reason why I don't count essences is because I use them to try to, you know, make items for myself and items to sell. Mostly try to create stuff for myself. So just that oil right there that just dropped, that paid for 2.5 maps. Yeah, so this is the other thing, stack decks. These alone, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 more chaos. Now I've paid for three blight maps, and you know the void. I think that sells for something. I think that sells for something. I don't know. I'm sure it does. But all that little mini gamble stuff, I just use it. I don't think I fully emptied. I actually need to check that wand.
That would only slow me down.
I got more crap I'm gonna have to come back and pick up. Come on, Chisel. I know you're one of the things I can pick up. No orb of regrets. No regrets. So, not even counting anything else that I picked up, which, I mean, you can see there's a lot more currency in there than what I'm saying. Is just those two things, the stack decks and the oil. I've now paid for 3 maps. And as you can see, in one day I've gotten 319 stack decks, um, which, you know, what, 2 chaos apiece? Oh, they're down to 1 chaos apiece. That's pretty crazy. That's the cheapest I've ever seen stack decks. That's like really cheap. Still, you know, over 2 exalts. That doesn't seem right. That might be some price fixing right there. I don't know. I don't buy or sell them. All I know is stack decks normally sell for more than that. Even at 2 chaos, that was pretty on the low end for stack decks. Pick up the rest of this before I dump everything, because I had one thing down. What was it? Need to check this. I don't have very many things left that I need to. Very many left mods that I don't already have the highest level. I need ring, and I think
Need a
wand
map?
are like my only unveils left. Nope. Ooh, that's nice. We'll be crafting on that and putting that up for sale. Those. Ooh, that's nice. Max out tier 2, cold damage. Tier 1, perfect intelligence.
Be
Okay,
careful.
so we got a few things to trade. Where's the other thing? Oh, that needs craft. Which I don't count these into what I've earned, like I said, until, you know, if it doesn't sell, it ain't no currency. Um and we're gonna start the next one.
Oh, go on.
Profs. It's also the nice thing about this, what I really like about running Blight maps, and the reason why I always run my own, even when I could sell them, is because it stocks me up on all the stuff I need for mapping, which this is a mapping league, so, you know, having lots of good stuff for mapping, like you can see now I've got a nice little healthy set of sextants, I've got, you know, lots of the crafting stuff, you know, I've got a good amount of alchemies, I've got a good amount of vol orbs, a good amount of scourings, My scarabs are starting to fill up, which are all things that I use for maps. It's also filling me up on my frags, which those are super useful for mapping, but they're also super annoying to buy. All that type of stuff comes from Blight maps. It basically loads you up on all the stuff that you need. So I sell the stuff that I don't need, which, as I'm saying, just selling certain things, I'm making good profit. And on top of that, I'm stocking up on all the stuff that I need to make more currency when I'm mapping. If you wind up liking Blight maps, you could, like I said at the beginning of the league, well, before the league even started, it would be a viable league to spend your whole league playing Blight maps when they become cheaper. And now they are cheap. um, Delirium is rewarding, but if you like Blight maps, and like where my build's at, my build's not min-max, but I don't have to do anything else to my build. If I was just gonna grind, if I was gonna just grind Blight maps, I have no reason to upgrade this build any further. It is more than powerful enough to farm Blight maps consistently, very easily.
Divine power!
I want to get down a. Yeah, it's not really where I want it, but
Let's see what this tower can really do!
sometimes you wind up with like bad turret placement. That's one thing that can make a Blight map hard.
Is trying to
And like
spread.
yesterday, I wound up failing at the end of one of my Blight maps because I just wound up with a super messed up map. I had, hard bosses spawn close to my base. I had no towers. I had no towers spawn within probably like this far of my thing, and I had spawn points like right next to my thing, and I had a bunch of the shielding dudes pop up, so my meteors weren't doing anything. And I had to go into close combat to try and kill them. And it happens. Sometimes there are really hard Blight maps spawn, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it, even if you're really good at them. So don't beat yourself up if you fail every once in a while. I will say I'm really good at Blight maps, and I still fail sometimes.
Divine power! I'm trying to spread.
Beauty will grow from your remains.
Trying to spread. Divine power.
So you notice I'm placing a lot, and I'm not, I'm going for more placements than upgrades. Could I have gotten another max tier upgrade? Yes. I could have just not placed that one last tower,
Do not let
and
them
I would have been able to place an extra one. But I want to get turrets down in that new area that just spawned. When the lanes go yellow, that means that they've become active. So these are going to start becoming active. The thing is if I don't have anything down, it takes me longer to set it up. And the thing is you can put down like a lot of just slow and minions, and even at level 1 they'll plug up the lane and slow it down a lot. And then once you get enough resources to upgrade them, you can quickly upgrade. Oh god. Poison damage.
Put out you mycelium. New roots.
Sucky.
Put out you mycelium. Helium! New routes!
I was not quick enough to get off of that. I don't want that guy poisoning me. You can also off screen on your map, like that's one. I mean, it's one thing that's awesome about the ice shot. Freezes like this, just permalocking them. That's one of the nice things about the ARB, as it does get massive hits, and you can just permalock bosses. Freezing stuff, like I just saved taking damage there with the freeze. And you see how, like, I've got tons of resources now, but I'm also trying to stay active. Thing is, it's a lot easier for me to take and just quickly upgrade these than to place towers. And it takes time for them to be built. However, the upgrades are instantaneous. And sometimes, like, if you're trying to, like, if you have to stay far away, like, here, I'll try to give you an example. So, like, say I need a tower right here. I can't select some of the stuff on the top of it. Like, I can click the tower, but I can't select all the stuff that's up there because it's off screen. But if it was already there and already placed, I could upgrade it. Like, if I'm like, shit, I need more stuff in that area, I could quickly upgrade it. But in that position, I have to get closer and say there's like dangerous bosses
My mana is
there.
gone.
Also, pay attention. I'm re-saying a lot of stuff I've said in other videos, but this is the first time you've watched one of my blighting videos. So these lines you see on my map, some of them are gray, some of them are yellow. Yellow means it's active, gray means it's dead. So you can see all these lines right here are gray. That means they're dead. There's this line right here, it's yellow. That means that's the only lane, since all these other lanes are white. This is the only direction that they're left. Someone asked me yesterday, have you ever had the Blight map get stuck? Everything is dead. Everything wasn't dead. I had that one yellow lane, and you can find where the extra minions are, so you don't waste time being like, where are they? Running all over the place. Just follow the yellow lines. Follow the yellow lines. Like early, you might want to pick up all the lower tier oils just for crafting and stuff like that. But me at this point, I don't use any of them, and I already have a bunch of them. So if I wind up needing like one of them for an anointment for myself, you know, then I will do that. So these have gotten cheaper. The current market price is 1 chaos a piece, but that's 8 chaos. And I mean, I can't possibly see stack decks going below 1 chaos a piece. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, you are kind of hoping for only a few cards to actually make money off of stack decks, but still, they go cheap enough. I think this league, there's just a lot more people that are just like, I want the guaranteed currency. I want that guaranteed currency. Which, I mean, I don't blame them. Stack decks have not treated me well for the last 2 seasons.
That would only slow me down.
Alright. How did I use up all my ID scrolls? Ew, worst possible roll. I don't know if well, it can't be worse than that. Oh yeah, that one's almost...
Hello.
So I was basically just looking for a perfect on that, because perfect anything, if it's something people use, they'll pay a lot more for it. At the very least, I mean, if you're charging for a perfect, you gotta always remember, if you're charging more than someone could just divine orbit for, then you're probably not going to sell it. If realistically it's going to cost more for them to divine orbit to perfect, then they're probably going to just buy it. Otherwise, it would just be a waste of time for them. But, you know, if it's some crappy item no one's going to use anyways, then, you know, it being perfect. Well, I guess some people just go for perfect items. Like, some people collect them. Everyone has their own little thing. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good one. Is that... Alright. 81. Yeah. Spell damage with... Oh yeah, we do have physical. I'll put that in my dump bin. I've still easy already right there picked up enough stuff to pay for the map. And that's kind of my point of playing some of these right now. At the market price, you can't, unless you're just failing every single map. And even if you're only partially completing, like you're only getting half of your nodes, you're probably still going to be consistently making currency. That's what I was saying, like, even if you're failing half of them, you'll probably still be making good currency. Like, so if you want to get good at Blight maps, which every league at the beginning of leagues, Blight maps are super profitable, because really early in the league, you know, tons of items are dropping, which, you know, tons of items when everyone needs everything, lots of chances to make currency. Right there, we got 8 more chaos in currency items. Alright, there it disappeared. So that line on the bottom will tell you if you have rewards. Also, the lines disappear once you have picked up everything off of that node. So that's how you can figure out where your loot's at. Just follow the lines. Follow the lines. I need more. Actually, I probably don't even have enough room. Let me tell your future.
Welcome.
Also, there's a lot of good prophecies for beefing up maps, but I never spend time to buy prophecies for maps. But I have been getting a lot of them and stocking them up since I've been doing this. Oh, that's nice. Like a pseudo triple res, because 30 in the top. Be a pretty, and tier 2 strength. It sucks that there's item rarity on it. Gross. Item rarity, yuck. It's a good candidate for crafting. This is pretty good. It's probably like the most desirable base in general because it adds to all stats. It's not the best because it adds 36, and if you do the dual type, that's a total of 48 stats. So 36 versus 48, you know. Oh wait, no, it is 48 because 16 it goes up to 16 to all stats. So I guess it's the same. 16, 32, 48, 24, and 24. Let's go up to 24, right? Yeah. All right, so they're the same. I guess if you're looking for a spread pattern, but usually builds are missing like one specific thing or two specific things because you normally have your main skill. So I like things like this. Like obviously this is the best for me because it's two off things, two things that I don't get a lot of. Like I'm a dexterity based character, so I'm gonna obviously need strength and intelligence for requirements. Um, yeah, that's how that works, man. That's how that works, man. Um, I mean, that's nice that the energy shield on that. Other stats just aren't good.
Fate will find you. Let me tell your future. Fate awaits you.
I didn't mean to pick up these. I got a bunch of gems that are. Sometimes I just accidentally pick them up. Alright, I'm gonna run another one. And then I'll call it a video. We got an hour-long video now. But I gave a cutoff point for people, so the people that are still watching at this point, it's because they enjoy watching it and they want to see more of these because they're interested in seeing how I do it. Apparently, Shrine is an unpopular one, and I can say that just because I'm pulling these randomly out, and it's not like I'm just gonna say unpopular. If I have a lot of them, they're probably unpopular. Spider Layer's probably unpopular. Crimson Temple, Dark Forest, Shrine. Those ones are probably unpopular because I've got a lot of them. Because I'm just buying whatever I can get. Let's look. What are the cheapest ones? Infested Valley, Dark Forest, Crimson Temple. I'd say they're like the four of the least expensive. Four of the least expensive tier 4s. So yeah, I'm right. That's sick.
Oh.
I don't know why Shrine's unpopular. You have a lot of choke points in this. Like, honestly, I would say this is probably a good one. Because, I mean, like, look right here. They have to come through this little door, or they have to come through this little door. And there's, like, tons of choke points. I mean, personally, like, I would think that something like this would be a popular map because it should be easier for players to play. So this is gonna reach to like right here, so it'll be able to freeze stuff before, see, look at that. It's gonna be able to freeze stuff before it reaches the pump, so it's gonna be able to catch it, so it's guarding both sides. That's the reason why I'm gonna go right there. Putting this right here next to the pump is also a good idea, since I'm gonna have coverage on these two choke points. This is a good position because it's gonna focus the stuff that's closer to it. That is a nice chest. 118, so it could have up to 18% max life, 2 resistances, armor, and energy shield. So like investing in towers out here, this ain't gonna do much for me because the only thing it's gonna hit is this one spot. So I don't want to be putting currency into that type of a spot. Like currency, the Blight currency.
It's branching, exile.
And if I were to put a meteor tower back here, then it's gonna have like the least possible coverage that it could get.
My mana is gone.
So like this is blocking. So like putting this behind here, what happens is when they walk up to this hole, then the minions come out and they will block it. Except for those ones, because those are minion ones which aren't affected by minions. That's why you gotta have a mixture, which my favorite two mixtures, my bread and butter for defenses, are minions and the ice towers. I do throw in some stun towers, but the mass majority is minions and slow towers.
Blight is trying to spread.
And it is good to have, like if you have a lot of spaces for stuff, it is good to have the level 1 slow towers because they provide the slow. So it's good to have the slow ones and also the ones that throw out the cones. Alright.
Blight is trying to spread.
So one of these lines just went active because the line went yellow. So now I gotta pay attention to that side.
The Blight is trying to spread.
Now I got 2 pluggers.
Let's see what this tower can really do. New roots.
Watch out for ranged minions in these. Like the small minions, they can stack attacks on you. So I wanna have damage tower, but I also want stuff in front of it to slow. I picked the centralized one for the slow because obviously it's gonna have the most coverage.
It's put out new mycelium. New roots.
See? Got that freeze that I was talking about, and they got close. Now we're gonna get some pluggers. See? There's level 1s, baby. Look at them plugging it up. They die pretty quick though at the level 1 though, so that's why it's good to upgrade them. Get more of them. And then get some damage in behind them. They hold your meteor tower punches.
My mana is gone.
And then since I got 3 there, I can turn one of them into damage. Which, if a bunch of stuff's being held there, it also gives better coverage if you have stuff that resists fire damage. See how easy this map is? Like, Obviously, like, some of them can be harder. Like, the last one, it was more open, but... I mean... I don't know why people wouldn't want to play this map. That's just me, man. Same thing with Crimson Temple. Like, every season, like, if my character's weak, I'd prefer to play, like, Crimson Temple, because there's almost always sides that are blocked off. I can understand why Dark Forest isn't popular, because you can be placed right out in the open, there's trees that can block your shots, there's a lot of stuff that make the map more difficult. So I can understand probably a lot of people that have tried those have been like, shit, this is hard, I failed this. I don't want to play this map anymore. See how good this thing's plugging it up? These are the run-by minions. Sweet. Sack of frags. Frag sack, yo. Mad stack decks, baby. Is that a Chaiula? It's a chai. It looks like a chai to me, baby. Yeah, I Chaiula. Although probably not worth even selling at this point in the league. Let's see. Presence of child, yeah, 34 chaos, which means it's probably not even on there because probably most of the cost for that is coming from the Blessing of Chaiula 16. So I mean, like, I could upgrade it and make myself like 15 chaos. So I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, like, that's another whole map, I guess. So I'm turning my nose up to it, like, ew, 15 chaos. But in reality, that's a whole nother map. That's a whole nother map.
That would only slow me down.
Stack decks, baby.
Welcome.
Fossils are so cheap this league now too. I called
Fate
that
will
one.
find you.
I think almost like all the fossils are like a chaos, or not even a chaos on a lot of them. I might already have an eye. Oh, no, I don't. Add it to the book, baby. missed something up here. Follow the lines, man. Once again, I've already made my map cost in stack decks. Ones I picked up before and those ones. Even if we were actually selling them at 1 chaos apiece. Pretty sure just these we've gotten ourselves a map. Another map. Ew, plague of frogs. Let's see if we can get a oil too. No. No good oils. No, what I mean is like, no one's worth a map. Nothing I'll sell. I could take and combine all of these. Is I think I have like a crazy amount already. All right. Well, that is a wrap. You kind of seen the currency I was getting. I didn't get any big drops, so you just, saw mediocre maps. If that looks good to you, I pointed out what the things were that paid for the map, so you can see all the other stuff that dropped on top of that, which honestly, I mean, like, I could sell these oils, but if you're trying to make it super cheap, you can run all teal oils, or like I said, if you're new, you want to make them easy as possible, you can use these, which these basically have no value. I mean, I think it says that they have value, but I mean, they're like 1 chaos. It says they're all 1 chaos. Um, but in reality, I don't think you're actually selling them for 1 chaos. I don't know, maybe people are actually paying chaos, but more than likely the people who are paying 1 chaos, they want 1 for an anointment. And if you want to do 1 chaos transactions, I don't. But and maybe that's the reason why they would sell for 1 chaos, because maybe people won't do anything with Blight, and they just want to buy every everything that they need for their anointments. So if you're the person that's willing to make 1 chaos transactions for single things, then maybe you will make currency off of those. But realistically, I can't be like, well, I got 200 clear oils, which if I was actually pick them all up, I'd probably have like 4,000 or 5,000 at this point. um, I can't be like, oh, well, that's currency, because realistically, I'm not going to sell all those. So I'm not picking them up because I don't need a bunch of them, and I'm not going to wind up selling all of them. But having some at the beginning is good to get yourself a nice little stockpile, so you don't wind up in a situation where you need it and don't have it, and you could have had it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.